TrueSport. Welcome back to another episode of the Playbook. It's been a little bit since we've gotten to have these conversations, and we are thrilled today to get into a conversation with Coach Jose Burgos from Catalyst Maria in Chicago. We were honored to recognize his terrific work as a soccer coach there as our very first TrueSport SportsEngine Coach of the Year. And so we're pleased to welcome him back for conversation today. Jose, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for having me today. I'm really excited to talk to you as well.
Great. Well, we know that this has been a difficult time for youth sports. There's a lot of conversation right now about the future of youth sport, the impact that the pandemic has had on our ability to gather in large groups, to have interaction with our athletes in person. We know that's been a challenge for coaches like yourself. What would you say has been the biggest challenge or the most difficult challenge for you to overcome as a coach during this time?
I would say the most difficult one was the not having the opportunity to finalize the season with the girls. We started during March, we started training. We had our preseason. We were extremely excited for a number of different reasons. Unfortunately, when the pandemic hit and when we had to go home, I never had the opportunity to see the girls again and tell them what was going on. So one of the things that it's been challenging is this closure that we need, and then obviously just the evident one, which is the lack of physical contact, and then the lack of community and so on.
I know we've heard from a lot of coaches that inability to have closure. We're certainly seeing it in the educational setting as well. You know, sending your athletes or your students home for the weekend, and then you don't see them again for the rest of the year. But that was really a missed moment or an opportunity to have those the sort of parting conversations that you wanted to have. How did you go about addressing those? Were there concrete steps that you took, or suggestions you would have for other coaches that's great practice?
As a coach, what I always find most effective is to go to the emotions and calling them and sending notes. In this case, we had girls who were graduating, and we sent them special gifts. So there's the little things that you can still do so they understand they belong to something greater. That right now, this is a very, very difficult time for all of us, particularly we adults. We're full of questions. And if we tell them that, if we say, we also have many questions, we're full of uncertainty, they tend to respond, well, again, if you do, I believe those little things that, remembering their birthdays, graduation, I try to make it as special as I could, and accept that this time we will not be able to get it done the way we envision it. I mean, I had a senior girl who has been a wonderful athlete, a wonderful student, and she was going to be the first girl, and she is the first girl actually to get a scholarship to play for a university, and we simply couldn't give her the honor that she deserved, and we couldn't honor her. So, but again, little things, just if you know your team, if you know your players, there is room for those small details.
I think that I'm so moved by hearing you say the very things that we talk about in the office all day, every day, which is sport has the potential to do so much more than just teach skills, right? To teach athletic skills or the ability to compete. It really is about making those human connections, building community. And we know that that's one of the things you've done really well, and really appreciate your insight into how to continue to create and build community. How important would you say communities have been in keeping people positive, right? I think we talk a lot about the challenges, but what unintentional or unforeseen positives came out of this, and how did you engage the community to help celebrate those?
We unfortunately had a death in our team. One of the relatives of one of our dear players, whose parents have been extremely supportive. He passed away due to COVID-19, and he was a beloved member of the community. In different circumstances, I would have asked the entire team to go to the funeral, and we would have participated the way we're supposed to. We couldn't do that, but we certainly, with the assistant coaches, we made sure to send flowers. We made sure to reach out directly to the kids and make sure that, because it's in this time of COVID-19, and I think in my role as a coach, the community as a whole, we have a wonderful principal We have many people in place to take care of the community as a whole, the school as a whole, and we have done a wonderful job. Personally, I see my players, or the students that I'm leading, as the ones that I need to take, the greatest care of. And in this particular incident where it was so tragic, the response of all the players and response of the families was just wonderful, because what they needed most at that moment was emotional support, and we were able to provide that. So despite the fact that it was a tragedy and still is, and this young student is looking forward to playing the season to honor his grandfather, and now we have this potential situation in which we won't play, we still have to, as adults, as leaders, as positive role models, we need to provide what we can. And like I said, we provided the support, not just emotional. We wanted the family to know that we care. So, that's an example that I can think of in which, we're trying to find the light in times of tremendous uncertainty.
That's amazing. I'm not sure that I could top that off any better than you just did. So really appreciate the heartfelt response that you as a positive role model and a terrific coach are having, the impact you're having in those athletes' lives and in the community in which you serve. We're so grateful for the opportunity to have this conversation with you, and hope that others will tune in and get great benefit from this conversation. And if you are interested in continuing this conversation, check us out at TrueSport.org. Thanks, Jose, so much. Take care.
Thank you, Jennifer.